Jimmy.
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 Who's this Jimmy?
Jimmy.
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 Jimi Hendrix is a rock icon. Played like a god, lived fast, died young. But the millions his music has made since then has pitted his brother against his sister in an unholy row over who gets what.
It's my legacy and my heritage from my father, from Jimmy. You know, it's a DNA thing. You know, I am the heir apparent.
Carlos Santana once said to me, there are two kinds of people in this world. There are artists and there are con artists. Which are you?
There's something about this legacy that whoever becomes the king of the mountain, so to speak, who's ever controlling the legacy, seems to fall into this pit, this greed pit.
In my research, I found that it's the most litigated and most expensive rock and roll estate other than the Beatles. Approximately $40 million has been spent in legal fees alone fighting over Jimmy's legacy, which is really...
Jimmy grew up in a poor suburb of Seattle. His father Al and his mother Lucille split up when Jimmy was 9 years old. His little brother Leon was just 3. The neighbourhood's not changed much, and their mother's old house holds powerful memories for Leon.
You know, I'm feeling lovey right now. You know, all lovey, all snuggly and lovey. Because I remember, like, Mama used to really love us. And when my father and mother couldn't get along, we would end up staying with our mother. My dad was haul us off down here, and we'd be happy. Just like the old times. Heading for the park. That was my bedroom right there. There was only one bedroom. So I used to sleep with my mom, and Jimmy used to sleep on the chair.
Leon used to tag along in the early days when Jimmy was a backing guitarist, often playing in the local hall.
Yeah, this is where I used to come and see Jimmy. He used to say, this was probably when I was still being babysitted by him. So Jimmy would take me and drag me along.
In the early stages of his career, Jimmy was always in the background, but he was hardly destined to stay there.
They used to hire Jimmy on Friday and fire him on Sunday because you couldn't practice with him. Because during practice, he would do something strange and he'd go, oh, I'm sorry, I just had to do it. Then he put a feather on his guitar one time. And he said, oh no, Jimmy, you're fired. This is a uniform band and you can't have feathers or anything hanging off your guitar, you know.
Jimmy's big break came in England with the Jimi Hendrix Experience in 1966. Jimmy personified the 60s lifestyle, and for the little brother who followed him on tour, it was his first taste of sex, drugs and rock and roll.
I was at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. You know, Jimmy got me a suite there. Had my own limousine. I was 17 years old, so I was like lost already. I was gone. And all these girls are coming up, you know, and they had to contact me to get to Jimmy, right? So I had a good time. You know, I was like, whoa.
But then I open the door and see somebody that appeals to me, you know. Well, like, first of all, thinking of all the white trash person, I say, what in the world is she doing here, you know? Or what does she, want or something like that. I stand there, she says, oh, maybe, can I come in? And I'm standing there and really digging her, you know, she's really nice looking, you know.
We went backstage, and the first thing I seen was a big bottle of Johnny Walker, right? A sack of weed, and a bunch of cocaine. And so I said, whoa, you know. Jimmy didn't hardly touch that stuff before he played, you know. And I only seen him do weed and drink. You know, I never seen him do the other. But I got happy with it, and I said, whoa, cool. So everywhere I went, I always expected to have drugs.
While While Jimmy was touring the world, back in Seattle, his dad was moving on too. Al Hendricks remarried and adopted his new wife's 6-year-old daughter, Janie. Jimmy and Leon had a new little sister.
I remember standing there waiting, and he was the last person to come off the plane. And everybody hugged and cried tears of joy. And each time he came back, he would spend time with everyone and share with them what was going on with his life, because he felt he was missing out in our lives as much as we felt he was this fabulous, star that was so sought after. He was very humble in that way, that wasn't really as important to him as his family.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Who's this Jimmy?
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Just a little more than a fortnight ago, Jimi Hendrix appeared before 200,000 adoring fans. Today, he's dead. Another headline from the crazy nightmare world of pop music.
Jimmy died in a London hotel room in 1970. He'd overdosed on sleeping pills and red wine. Janie was 9.
I remember that the day that we got the news, my father came and scooped me up like Batman and carried me into the bedroom and told me that life won't be the same.
Jimmy was only 27 when he died, and he hadn't left a will. The family was united in grief, with no hint of the millions or the disputes to come.
When he died, he actually was not that well off. He was close to destitute, with as many debts as he had assets.
Jimmy's father, Al, a landscape gardener with little education, was saddled with his son's rock and roll business affairs.
The legal issues and the business issues that surrounded that were frankly always just above his ability to cope. And so he had to rely on other people always throughout his life to handle that for him.
Step forward entertainment lawyer Leo Branton Jr.
Well, Dad and Leo were friends, and Leo was our attorney, and he fully trusted Leo as his attorney to handle the affairs.
While Branton took care of the business, record producers took care of the music. As the years rolled on, millions of records were rolled out. Al left him to it, no questions asked. In return, he got an annual salary.
I told him one day, I said, Dad, wait a minute, they're saying Jimmy's making like $5, $6, $7 million a year, and you're only getting $100 grand a year. And he goes, well, Leon, you don't understand the music business. And I said, I must don't, And so we kind of got in an argument about that. And so I would call Branton and let him and talk to him about it. He said, oh, Leon, don't worry about it. In fact, I got a good deal for you coming up.
The deal was to sell the whole Hendrix business to record company MCA. But to do it, Al and Branton needed to buy back some music rights from Leon and Janie. So in 1990, Branton offered them $1 million each.
I said, oh, yeah! I said, woo! And he also offered this to Janie, right? I accepted. Janie went to an attorney, right, and said, well, my dad doesn't seem to have this much money, so how can I make sure I get this $1 million? That's when she first got an attorney.
Leon got his million, but Janie decided not to sell her rights, and her attorneys unearthed a host of deals Al knew nothing about.
It took 4 months and stacks of legal documents, and he could clearly see that his estate was mishandled. That's when things changed. That's when he filed the legal papers for the lawsuit.
Al and Janie needed a financial backer. Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen offered his help. A lifelong Hendrix fan, Allen was also conveniently the 4th richest man in the world. The lawsuit was immensely complicated, with years of legal wrangling. There are shells in the courthouse store groaning under the weight of paperwork and evidence.
We don't get many cases this large. The longer the case is drawn out, the more documents that are filed in the case, the more pieces of evidence that are filed, the more the attorneys and squabble over little bits of evidence, you know, the bigger and bigger the case gets. I used to have this on vinyl. It's kind of fun.
In 1995, Al's lawyers were all set for their day in court, but the trial didn't get far.
The music rights case was scheduled to be heard in federal court in Seattle, but now with the settlement, a trial won't be necessary for Jimi Hendrix's father to gain back the rights to his son's songs.
Well, it means great deal to the family. For one thing, it got the legacy, my son's legacy, and that's what main thing I wanted.
We have everything. We have the legacy. That means everything that has to do with Jimmy. It now has come home.
The Hendrixes won the business back. At this point, it was said to be worth around $80 million.
When Al Hendrix won the rights to Jimmy's legacy back, everyone kind of thought it was done. Finally, the rights were reunited with someone who was a Hendrix.
Al was 77, ill, and in no position to handle the business on his own.
From here on, you know, from 96 on, my father appointed me as president and CEO, and my cousin Bob as vice president.
So it was like we got on, and how much did we know about the music business? Not much, but we learned.
And they learned fast. They launched a new company, Experience Hendrix, and in the 8 years since, they have remastered Hendrix classics and issued previously unreleased material. With concert DVDs, films, and memorabilia, it's said the company has doubled in value.
What it's worth now, I think there have been numbers put out in the press of 150, 160 million, which certainly puts Jimmy's estate up there among the very top tier of dead musicians. I hate to say, but that is in fact the category.
But the Jimi Hendrix industry has not been without its critics.
Some of the merchandising they put out with Jimmy's name on it, in my personal opinion, a little over-commercialized. They put out golf balls. They put out a rocking chair with Jimmy's face on it. The idea to do a bottle of red, even non-alcoholic wine when Jimmy died from drinking red wine, that was part of the reason for his death, seems to me to be short-sighted, if nothing else.
Accusations of crass merchandising were minor compared with the damaging events to come, events that would threaten the very fabric of the Hendrix family. In 1999, Al Hendrix published his autobiography. In it, he stated that he was not, in fact, Leon's father. However, 12 years earlier, in his will of 1987, he named Leon his one living natural child. Leon and his lawyers claimed Al's allegations amounted to defamation, and that, furthermore, his sister was behind it. He sued.
Jenny's been telling my father that I'm not his son. I have a birth certificate that says Al is my father. He's been my father for 55 years. You know what I'm talking about? And the Bible says he who raises a child is the father.
Though Leon clearly believed that legally and morally he's Al's son, Jenny's lawyers challenged him to prove it genetically by providing a DNA sample. Eventually, Leon dropped the defamation case and agreed to take a DNA test, the result of which, for now, is under wraps. Last year, the story took another turn.
So I get a phone call from Leon, and he said my dad died.
Leon is supported by his own big money backer, Seattle property developer Craig Diefenbach.
Leon was pretty upset. He became even more upset when Janie wouldn't give him a call back, and Leon was not able to participate in the funeral as far as the planning of the funeral goes
because he had no contact with Janie, she wouldn't call him back. We had to use attorneys to talk to him.
Leon's handlers, attorneys, manager, whatever you want to call them, put a demand letter on the estate the very day Al Hendricks died.
Leon's lawyers went to court to secure a copy of Al's will to reassure Leon that 25% of the estate would be his. But what they discovered was something entirely different.
Here it is. Here's Leon's inheritance. In fact, this is his whole inheritance. It's a souvenir gold record, and that's it. You're looking at it. He gave it to me to hang on to. He was a little upset when he got it.
My dad had always, taken care of his grandkids. Those are my children, and me. He said, Leon, you're in the will. It's all okay. Everything's all cool, It was in one document that we would get, me and my children would get 25% of the whole estate. I was happy with that. Dad said everything's all right.
But that's not what happened.
Al Hendricks's various wills and trusts that he's executed over time have changed from a concept where there were a number of family members that he wanted to benefit, including Leon, to a situation where, for all intents and purposes, Janie Hendricks controls everything.
Ever since, it's been downhill for me, uphill for her.
And of course, as part of that, Leon, Jimmy's brother, is out totally.
Janie blames Leon.
Through the years, Leon basically alienated himself from our family.
Leon made other choices in life that Al Hendricks would not have made.
I did everything. Smoking too much weed, drinking, smoking crack. I had some bad times, and I guess nobody realized that I cleaned up.
And has reinvented himself as a rock guitarist.
I ain't getting no feedback. Come on, baby.
Man, it's like nothing else in the world. It's like Jimmy's with me. I have a bad day unless I call on him. And I said, well, I need to call on evoke the power.
Leon's following in his brother's footsteps. Rather late in life, he's 55 and only picked up the guitar in earnest a few years ago.
This is the Leon Hendricks Mysterians. That's the name of our band. The Mysterians, because nobody ever knew I existed, even my sister. She said, where'd you come from?
But she can be in no doubt now.
Good job, Leon.
Leon is stepping up for a fight. With money and lawyers from Craig Diefenbach, he's taking on Experience Hendricks, Janie's empire. Leon is going to the courts to have Al's will overturned. So far, Craig's put over $3 million of his own money behind Leon's claim that Janie, not Al, was the real architect of the will.
All the time they were using him as a token, just to be there, and all the time they were like conspiring to manipulate this whole estate from that time. When my father gave her the power to do it, because my father trusted her.
We expected that Leon would inherit a substantial portion of the estate, which Al has told him his whole life, and everybody was gonna get what was justly theirs. Bob Hendricks and Janie are living the life of luxury, and the rest of the Hendricks family are living in reduced circumstances. Doesn't seem fair to me.
What we've alleged on behalf of Leon is that the will really doesn't represent the true intent of Al Hendricks, but instead represents the result of, we think, fraudulent influences and undue influence that's been applied to Al to alter what naturally would have been his intent. He had suffered from a life of alcohol abuse. He was hospitalized several times. So we believe the evidence will show that he was quite reduced in both physical and mental abilities at the time that the decisions that are critical to this case were being made.
My dad had his own mind and his own will and his own understanding of life.
Janie never interfered with Al's intent. She wasn't even involved at all in the preparation of the wills or the trust. She had nothing to do with it.
My father trusted her that she would do the right thing. And he told me many times, he said, don't worry, Janie will take care of it. Janie will take care of it. But Janie don't take care of nothing but herself.
This isn't about money or fame. This is about a spirit. This is about a wonderful man. And instead of rejoicing over his life, there's fighting over what someone's gift expectation is.
The public image of the Hendricks business is of a family-run enterprise. But many of the Hendricks family feel excluded.
There she is, the head mama of the Hendricks clan. Hi, Auntie.
Oh, my God, honey. How are you, dear?
Sweet.
Dolores, Al's former sister-in-law, was central to the family when Leon and Jimmy were growing up.
This is the
I took
lady.
care of him when he was a baby. Him and Jimmy both. The whole family, in fact, all the kids in the family. Al and I were on good terms up until a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep, everything changed, you know, when he began to get ill, I guess. He didn't really quite know what he was doing, but he had always promised me that he would take care of our family, always, because I had taken care of his.
There's other people in control of the state right now that don't even acknowledge us.
So the truth will come out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Jimmy's happy now.
Yeah, Jimmy's
He's up there where he always wanted to be, in the clouds.
What's up, bro? Talking about no vision. That's a right-handed guitar. It's not even turned upside down. You see what I'm talking about? They don't even know the man. You know what I'm talking about? Gee, come on, you guys. Come on, Janie, what's up?
Last year, experienced Hendricks moved Jimmy's body to a new mausoleum. Al died before it was completed, but Janie saw the project through.
She took it upon herself to move Jimmy in the middle of the night on his birthday while we were all having a party. I came here to pray over Jimmy's grave, and I found out it was empty.
It was really my dad's vision to have a place for Jimmy, have a place for himself. A year prior to his passing, every day he asked us, when will it be done?
She never talked to me and told me anything about it. She never did include us in the real things that they did. That's what we, feel bad about. It really hurt us very badly that we were treated that way.
To make family matters worse, Leon's been told there's no room for him or his family at the site next to Jimmy. But Leon's legal battle with Janie may benefit his relatives. His lawyers have uncovered papers that show Al set up trusts for them years before he died.
What we've discovered is that even though these trusts were established in 1997, none of the beneficiaries that we've talked to have received anything from the trusts.
Diane Hendricks is Leon and Jimmy's cousin. The lawyers claim her trust could be worth more than $12 million.
All I know is that I've never gotten a penny from it. That's all I can say. Whatever the truth is going to come forward. Whatever. Whether it's good or bad, you just be prepared.
So why didn't the trust pay out?
It's Leon's 4 lawsuits that have frozen the ability to pay anything out to the trust or the estate until Leon's claims are tried and adjudicated in court.
It's our contention that these trusts are simply sham transactions, really intended to vest total control of the company in Janie.
Leon intends to prove it when he meets Janie in court next year.
This has been a very divisive thing in this family. I've seen in my own eyes, brother against sister, cousins that don't talk. The Hendricks name is a family that, really should be something that should be a calling card.
Though for some members, the family name is anything but. Leon's daughter Tina is a hip-hop artist who started her own record label.
Of anybody I've met in the family, she's one of the people that I really say, there's some talent here. She potentially could have a serious career doing what she's doing, but she's on the side that isn't running the Jimi Hendrix legacy, and so in some ways the name has actually been a curse for her, she says.
So many black and lengthy, you try to stick me for my paper. Look me like a hater, stick out your lightsaber, whip it out like Darth Vader.
We
we are the biological relatives of Jimi Hendrix, and I think that that's something significant and special, and I'm proud to have that blood, and when it comes down to it, I think that that's more important than having the money, really, because, you know, it was the blood that made the money.
Tina's brothers, Alex and Jason, are also rapping for her label.
If I die suddenly and some of my stuff turns into hits, I hope that, you know, I hope that somebody doesn't come along, marry into the family, and then take it. I mean, we trusted people, and I think that if there was a lesson to be learned, it is that you really can't trust everybody, especially when the issue of large amounts of money is involved.
For Leon and his family, that large amount of money could be as much as $40 million.
Let's be honest, okay? Leon is Jimmy's brother, okay? He does deserve his birthright. There's enough money for everybody in this world. You know, I'm sorry. You know, everybody can be taken care of.
We'd like to stop playing this rubbish and dedicate a song to the Cream.
I think Jimmy would definitely be upset with what's going on today.
This man, Jimi Hendrix, left us such a wonderful music legacy. Why are we having this big row? And I want to say to all the fans out there, you know what? I wish I knew too, because I don't think that we should be having this fight.
And as far as Leon goes, him being the prodigal son now, I do pray for his soul. And for his own sake, I'm happy for him.
I am Jimmy's brother, and that's all I care about right now. And I have the DNA, and I have the music, and I have the legacy and the heritage. And I'm gonna carry it on.
I think that you know, the Hendrix estate will continue to be litigated. I would sure wish that there would be a day where it would be over, but you know, I've been hoping that, I think, for 33 years, and we've seen, you know, one lawsuit after another over something involving Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, one last thing. Tamika Carpenter from Minneapolis is about to file suit. Her claim? She's the daughter of Jimi Hendrix. Next week, before and after, how the will Princess Diana wrote before she died was altered after her death.